Mike, congratulations on the record.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, you're welcome.
In reading the reviews of the record and in listening to it, I've heard it described as a very cathartic record. And I think when you listen to albums that are deemed to be cathartic, deemed to be ways that get a lot of emotions out of you, it can happen in a lot of different ways. And one of the ways that can happen is lyrically. But in your case, I think that's happening sonically. Like I almost hear sounds less than words that unleash a lot of emotions, and I can hear a lot of your emotions come across in sounds. And there's songs here that really explode out of your headphones, and that wasn't necessarily one of them. But we're gonna get to Slip Away, and Slip Away is definitely one of them. In the past, in knowing your music, it's been a little bit mellower. It's been a little bit quiet. Tell me a little bit about, was it intentional to go a little bit more brash, a little bit more abrasive, a little bit more cathartic in this record?
Well, you never know. I always have ideas of what the next album is going to be like, and I'm usually wrong. I think it ended up that way a lot just from practice, and just from, I don't know, expanding what I thought I was capable of. When I first started making music, I thought I was mainly like a lyricist, and then I just put really simple music underneath. And as I've toured and made more music, I feel a lot more musical. I feel like that can communicate just as well as the words now. You know what I mean? So I kind of let myself free a little bit.
And I think that sound can do that. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think on this record, not to say that you didn't know this in the past, but I really hear you experimenting with the idea that emotions can be released through sound and sound alone.
And a lot of that's just from performing too, and having that like physical feeling, and almost like an exorcism on stage with the band and stuff like that. And I wanted to make songs where that would happen more often.
And in making these songs, I want to talk a little bit more about sound, because I know on this record you were writing music and you were writing melodies before you were writing lyrics, which again, as you said, you were someone who started out.
Yeah, it's atypical for me.
So how does that change your writing?
It's a lot more open. Like I just was emoting, essentially. I wanted to go to different chords than I normally do. I didn't want to have like a map or have a phrase that I needed to fit in or something. So I just sort of was wordlessly gibberishing over whatever intuitively was coming up.
So normally when you go in with a set of lyrics, you feel like you're kind of constrained by the map that you laid for yourself?
In a way, like I have to try to fit them in a way that's not awkward, or that's what ends up guiding the music is the words, I'll usually start out writing, I'll have like a simple melody of one line, and then I'll stop and I'll write all the lyrics and then finish the song. And this was different. Like I spent a couple months writing the music and then a few weeks writing the lyrics afterwards.
I want to talk a little bit about the title here, No Shape. You said in interviews, I like the idea of something taking a different shape than the one I feel like I'm stuck in. When did this thought start for you that perhaps you were stuck in your body, you were locked in your body?
Oh, dear. Pretty early, I suppose. I mean, around the time where you become self-aware almost as a defense or protection, if you do feel like a weird person, you're on the outside, growing up, I ended up becoming self-aware pretty quick.
Of your body?
My body, just the way that I appeared, the way that I looked, the way that I carried myself, almost as a defense.
I don't understand.
Huh?
I don't understand what you mean by a defense.
I guess because I realized my instincts, the way that I naturally would talk or carry myself, were going to get me in trouble with people, or I was going to get teased or made fun of. So you kind of retreat back into yourself, and you develop this weird relationship, and everything's kind of based off of how you come across, how you seem. It's not really even belong to you anymore.
And I find that interesting you say that, because you use your body so much in your career, in your visuals, in your music videos. I was just watching the new single, the Die For You video. By the way, that's up on our website. It's cbc.ca/Q. But if you're listening to this on the radio and you can't see it, it's mainly just you. It's you dancing and contorting your body, and there's light and there's shadow, and it's the kind of totality of you. And given that you've experienced the self-doubt, and sometimes you've said feel like you're trapped inside your body, tell me about that process of using your body as art.
It's just a rebellion. I mean, it feels rebellious against anybody who told me I needed to seem or be a certain way, whatever made me shift into shame when I was little, and a rebellion against myself, my own discomforts and stuff. It's like a way, for a video or for a song or for a whole performance, or sometimes even a day, I can shake it off.
And does that rebellion? I like when you said it's a rebellion against yourself as well.
Yeah.
Because does using your body in these video forms and showing more of it, does it give you a confidence or a freedom that perhaps you didn't have before?
Yeah, for sure. And it's strange. I mean, even just doing photo shoots, like in press and stuff, like I'm having to change in front of people, and I don't care anymore. I don't know how that happens.
What changed?
I think I just gave up. I think I just like, it's too exhausting, all the anxiety, and then you just end up being so resentful. Well, and 95 plus percent of the time, nobody's actually paying attention. It's all your own stuff.
Well, yeah, no one's looking at
No.
you near as much as you think they're looking at you.
So I intellectually know how goofy some of my anxieties and weird complexes are, even if I feel like I can't break them sometimes. But in a professional setting, sometimes I can like click into maybe I could let those go for 20 minutes.
So much of your career and so much of reading about your career has been about conquering, has been about owning, and has been about recognizing things from your past. And you've been so open in your music about your past struggles with alcohol and drug use, your struggles with growing up queer in the face of bullying and abuse. And this record, I should say, is more about the present. This record's more about your life now, and it's more about your love now. I should mention your longtime partner, Alan, was just with us playing in your band, playing keyboards, playing in your band, not your band. The band was the band we had earlier. Tell me, well, yeah, not you. Tell me about the. Well, they're not here anymore. Tell me about moving on from singing and writing about your past to be a little bit more present.
It's just what I needed, If I felt like, I hate to say that my music is therapy, but it is kind of a little bit, as corny as that sounds. And it's turned into group therapy the longer I do it and more that I talk to people after shows and stuff. So I carry other people with me when I'm writing now. It's not just for me. But what's the question?
I mean, do you feel like you had to close a chapter? Like your past few records were an exploration of your past self, and you kind of finished that exploration, and now you're ready to look at the now?
A little bit, yeah. I kind of felt like I healed up the past. And then the album before this one is a little bit of anger and kind of projected outwards. And this one's more coming through all of that, trying to just like exist and be.
Just
be me.
Yeah, just be you. What role do those past challenges play in your life now anyway?
Well, I guess I built a career on it. So in a way, in the beginning, I built like I don't know. And that kind of helped me respect those things that happened more. And just writing about stuff that wasn't maybe so cozy or warm, but in a more patient and kind way, all those experiences in the past has changed. I kind of rewrote it, those things, you know what I mean?
And I can only imagine it must have given you some strength too.
Yeah.
Like if you're able to own those things, then you're able to see how far you've come.
Yeah. If you stop to look around, yeah.
One thing I've heard you talk a lot about not to dwell on the past too much, but one thing I've heard you talk a lot about in interviews is that on this record you're writing the music you wish you heard when you were a kid. Music you were when you were struggling with your identity, when you were struggling with being bullied, music that would have helped you. Well, what music were you listening to back then? What music wasn't there?
Well, like an album that changed my life when I was like 12, 13 was Liz Phair, Exile in Guyville. Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, that kind of changed even what music was to me.
How?
Well, I stole a Spin magazine from the grocery store with Beck on the cover.
Yeah.
And there's a little article about her in it.
I think I can see that. Like, I think her name was on the cover of the record in like the corner, but Beck was on the main. I think I know that one? I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Before that, I was like exclusively listening to Ace of Base for like 4 years.
Right.
And I don't know what compelled me to like.
There's nothing wrong with listening to Ace of Base.
No, there
either,
isn't. But like that's all I thought. That's what I thought music was.
Yeah.
Was Ace of Base.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's pretty good. I listened to All That She Wants. Like
there's something really creepy and haunting about it. Something really unsettling about it now, though, when I hear it. I think I liked when I was young, but I didn't really fully grasp.
It's All That She Wants. It's major. It's minor for up until the verse, and the verses are major in the same key.
Oh, okay.
That's what freaks me out about All That She
Technically
Wants.
haunting.
I find just like the parallels of light and dark in Ace of Base freak me. And listen, I can't talk about it. I got a warning. Stop talking about Ace of Base, Tom. You got it. Go ahead. So you find this magazine.
Yeah. Well, and she in the article is talking about her stage fright and how like kind of controversial her lyrics were and stuff. So I went out and got the album, and just hearing her sing about sex, like very specifically, with like zero apology, zero shame, a lot of thoughts that were coming up for me when I was 13 felt very shameful and secret and had a lot of apologies for. So, and that was the closest I found to someone essentially like sharing like my secret thoughts or It was a companion to me. It made me feel more comfortable and less alone less on the outside, because I didn't really have anyone else to talk to about it, or maybe I could have, but I didn't.
You are now making that music. I think there are a lot of people, and not only do I think that, I see that on your Twitter, I see that in your social media interactions, that you are that music. I see you smiling here now. Like, you are that music to a lot of people who are dealing with addiction, who are struggling with coming out, who are dealing with those strange feelings around their identity. They're able to listen to your music in the same way that you were able to listen to Liz Phair. So what's that like, to make art that people not only love but also helps them on a deeply personal level?
I mean, that's like the best review you can get, really.
Have you considered
that? And that's why I make it. That's like half the reason, 80% more the reason that I make it. I don't know, because that's when I needed music the most. That's when the music was the most powerful to me. And so the idea, I think I'm constantly kind of writing music for that part of myself, and hoping that will also be helpful to like actual children, And
you are so giving on social media, and you are so giving to your fans and those who need you and those who are struggling in the same way that you struggle. What do you try to tell them?
I suppose just that they're all right, even when they're not. That that you can be strong and weak at the same time. Like, there's no real rule to it. You can be afraid and do something anyways. I think that's the one message that I like. That you're not broken, even if a lot of messed up things have happened to you.
I think there's been incredible strides. I think without a doubt we can say that there's been incredible strides made in the LGBTQ2 world since you were listening to Exile in Guyville, since you were listening to Ace of Base. Yet with the current administration in the United States where you live, there have been worries that LGBTQ issues and rights will move backwards. So how are you feeling now in 2017?
Oh, not good. Yeah, not good. Zero hope. I don't see any sort of any goodness in that. I don't feel any positivity about it.
So given that you're a source of strength for others, and given that you've needed strength, you've needed outside stimulus, you've needed art to find your own strength in some of your darker times, what's giving you strength now?
Just what's actually around me, I guess.
What do you mean?
My family and my friends, like being more present and in the moment instead of feeling so detached, and just taking goodness where I can get it. We live kind of in the suburbs now, me and my boyfriend, and I feel like we need, especially with all the stuff going on, that we need to move back into the city. I just feel like a need to be around like gamers and goths and like gay people. Like, I want to leave my house to walk my dog and just see like a bunch of like weirdos, because there used to be supposedly laws protecting you. So even if someone messed with you, there was a backup, but that seems to be in danger too. So really now all you're going to have is the people around you to fight with.
And you want to be surrounded by those people.
Yeah.
It must be very, speaking of exile, it can feel very alone in the suburbs.
Yeah, it's just sort of boring, I guess, which is why we liked it.
Well,
there's a quiet and there's a distance. It's good for writing if you like the drama of like isolation and stuff, which I do. I like drama in general. So...
but when you're on the road doing this, I mean, you're coming in and meeting me, who you've never met before, and you're going to meet 17,000 me's doing press by the time. by the time, 17,000 me's, by the way, is my upcoming sci-fi novel. Yeah,
solo project.
Yeah, I'm you and I maybe
one-man show.
I'll try it out.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be very good, but I'm guessing that living in Tacoma, living in the suburbs in Washington, gives you that solace that you don't get when you're on the road.
Yeah, and I think, we do a lot on tour and on the road. We're in lots of cities. We're around lots of people. So it's a nice escape. But, I'm doing this album now, but there's a good chunk of time, like a year or so, where we were just there. We were just home, and very, like, much having a routine that was essentially just couch-based. So I'm ready to, like, I don't know, live a little bit.
You ready
beyond, like, singing and performing and talking about myself all the time.
How do you take care of yourself on the road? It must get overwhelming. It must grind you down.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I do. I'm not sure anybody really does. I don't know. I actually Googled it. I was like, what should you bring on tour? Like tour tips. And somebody wrote about like a sage spray, kind of like a healing scent. So I've been obsessed with that. Like that's going to solve whatever. I don't know if we're tired or grumpy or morale is low, that I'm just going to spray this thing from my Google search that someone talked
Do you have
about.
it now?
No, I keep forgetting to get it.
Yeah.
You know? So that's how I take care of myself.
So
Just aromatherapy.
I think a lot of people who are listening to this will never have the experience that you have of standing up on stage and having a sea of people in front of you listen to you and be able to sing back your every word. And as I mentioned, those words that they're singing back are not just, Last Dance with Mary Jane. They're not just like, songs that they've heard on the radio and they're pleased with. They're affirmations in some cases. They're affirmations to let them know that they're okay. So if you could just paint me a picture or give me an idea of that feeling that you get on stage when you're standing up in front of the microphone, you're looking at those people and they're singing your words back to you. What do you feel?
I mean, if you really check in completely, it's overwhelming. So you have to have a little distance. It happened to me last night when we were playing the show. Like, I just sort of really considered what was happening and really looked at everybody and looked at my band and everything. It was just too emotional in a way that's not productive for like singing or like moving around in a charismatic way, So you have to like be there for everybody, but you also have to put on a show. It's different now. I used to be a lot more closed off. Like I just felt like I was being witnessed, like having emotions, and my shows were very like head down,
Eyes closed.
Yeah. Performing. But now I'm like looking out, but you have to kind of look beyond a little bit, but keep everybody with you. It's an incredible thing, but I feel like sometimes I have to process it afterwards. I can't process it during because it's too much.
I love that. I love what you just said there. That like if you actually do check in and try to feel all those emotions, you won't be able to do the thing that they're here to see.
Well, some people that are like a little more stable might be able to, but I am not. So I got to keep my stuff together.
Well, I appreciate you keeping it together and talking to me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're going to play another song.
Yeah.
What's it going to be?
I think the next one's called Valley.
People are going to hear it for the first time. What would you like them to know about it?
It's a seemingly cheerful song.
Seemingly cheerful.
Yeah. I guess, it's kind of a heavy subject, but I suppose I can talk about it.
If you'd like to.
I'll talk about it. I wrote a song about it. I can talk about it. It was about a year after I got out of rehab. I thought I saw a friend I made there kind of wandering around, obviously, had gone back to using. And the song is about how I understood why she would do that. Like, that's our instincts to do that. It's almost more natural to be that way. And I feel like, just writing a song about that with zero judgment, I feel like a lot of people think of addicts as, like, lost or almost in a pitying way. But I wanted to write a song that didn't have any tinges of that in it.
This is Perfume Genius performing Valley on Q. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I really appreciate that.